Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and welcome back to the digital edition of NHL Now. Jackie Redmond alongside EJ Raddick, as per usual, but we've got a very special guest today. I'm sure you've all seen and heard of her before. Four-time Olympic gold medalist. She's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. She's the Assistant Director of Player Development for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and she's in her final year of med school. Hayley Wickenheiser, thanks for making time for us. We know you are busy. And, now you've sort of become one of the big faces in this fight against COVID, helping Canadian frontline workers get access to protective equipment. So first off, kudos to you. Hats off.
Yes.
What you're doing here in Canada. How did it sort of start for you? I mean, was there just a moment where you thought, I just need to do something? What was that for you?
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. I think, I was working in the emergency room, so I was doing Leafs by the day and emergency medicine by night, essentially, is how I was sort of splitting my time. And being in the emerge the last 3.5 months prior to getting pulled out as a trainee about a month ago or so, I started to see COVID cases come into the hospital, and we aren't directly allowed to treat them, but I was seeing patients and watching them being treated, and started to see it ramp. And then I saw my first patient, the first patient get intubated in the hospital that I was in. He was a young airline pilot. Sort of changed everything for me. And then when I left the hospital, I was getting text messages from my friends in emergency medicine who were saying, "We're going to run out of PPE. This is a crisis like no other," et cetera, et cetera. And so I just felt like I had to do something, and kind of being in limbo in medicine where you're not advanced enough to be treating an on the COVID patient front line, I felt like trying to get PPE for my friends that was something I wanted to do. So that's when I tweeted, and Ryan Reynolds amplified it, and then Conquer COVID was born.
So let me follow up and just ask, how can people who are watching this get involved? Because this is an ongoing circumstance. Everything is certainly fluid. We're going to continue to need to get this protective equipment. How can people, just the regular guy at home watching this, how can they help?
Yeah, well, you go to conquercovid19.ca. That's the website. And right now there's a couple options. You can just straight up donate money if you'd like to. You can buy a t-shirt. MLSE, who have the Leafs, have graciously donated all 4 of their logos for their pro sports teams. So you can get a nice Leaf shirt or Leaf hat logoed, and all the proceeds go to buying PPE. And then if you're someone who needs PPE and you're in Canada, we're not really operating in the US, but you can fill out an intake form, and we will try to match you with the stuff that we have, that we're bringing in big buys from Asia every week and shipping it right back out again.
Wow.
You mentioned Ryan Reynolds sort of amplifying this for you. And I read in an article as well where you said, him putting it out to his, I don't even know how many followers he must have, but millions, really sort of help the campaign and help really get it front and center. And, I know people love to make jokes about Canada, like, "Oh, you're from Canada. Do you know Joe from Winnipeg?" It's not actually like that.
Yeah.
Where did that relationship between you and Ryan Reynolds begin? Like, how did you guys become friends?
Yeah, so we were inducted into Canada's Walk of Fame, which for the American audience is like the Hollywood star, but not really. It's kind of where people go after nights at the bar and they like pee on your star. But anyway, so Ryan and I went in the same class as like The Weeknd and a few others that people will know, but we kind of became friends during that night, and that we stayed in touch ever since, and have done similar things for sick kids and other initiatives. And yes, he is a famous movie star, but to me he's Ryan from Vancouver, and just a nice funny guy, and if you say Ryan in Canada, Ryan Reynolds, a lot of people definitely know who he is. But I gotta say that you meet a lot of famous people in this business, and some of them are very underwhelming and some of them are amazing, and he is definitely an amazing human. He goes above and beyond with both his money and his actions, and he has done a lot of good in the world.
But first thing, by the way, I do know Joe from Winnipeg. Nice fella. Really nice. Really nice fella. Hayley, can you give us an update on your your medical circumstance, or your career? Because we had taught you in the past, and you're working your way through school, and you're close to the end, but you're not quite there yet, correct?
Yeah, so with COVID, we've paused. It's called clerkship in your final year of medical school before you go into your residency. So we've kind of not known what to do with us, so we've paused, but we're about to go back in a month's time. And so I'll finish up my last year here. I'll be done in about 8 months. And then I'd like to do emergency medicine and continue to blend that with what I'm doing in hockey as well. So I really enjoy the work I'm doing with the Leafs and player development, and they've allowed me to finish up med school, and then I'll probably be able to take on a little bit more on the hockey side as well.
This might be a silly question because you clearly got so much going on and you're putting a lot of your efforts to helping frontline workers right now. But what does Hayley Wickenheiser do in quarantine when she's got like an hour and a half? Are you like Netflixing? Are you baking banana bread? Like which category?
Well, you guys are gonna laugh. I'm definitely Netflixing when I can, but I'm studying virtual medicine, so that takes up quite a bit of time. But actually, my son is 20, and today I couldn't stand it anymore. I had to get him out of the house, so we went and drove to the Schnitzel Shack and went and got a schnitzel. Which was amazing.
Oh boy, how was it?
It was fantastic. Port Hope, Ontario. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. Probably won't need to eat for a couple days, but it was good.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that. Hey, we all have to find something to do. You mentioned the Netflix. Are there any shows that you watch at all? Anything that stands out for you?
You guys are gonna laugh, but
Okay.
Tiger King. Gotta love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just started the last. It's crazy. I just started The Last Dance actually yesterday, so I haven't actually dug into that. I feel like everyone else in hockey has watched that, but I have not. I'm into documentaries. I watch a lot of documentaries. I like I don't know. Unorthodox was one of the newest ones that I just watched.
Okay.
So yeah.
Let me ask you this then on a follow-up on The Last Dance, and for anyone watching that doesn't know, it's about Michael Jordan and the Bulls dynasty of the 90s. And, there's an episode in there, and this isn't giving anything away, but where he talks about leadership and how he was hard on his teammates in practice and how a lot of his teammates said, oh yeah, he was a total jerk. Like it was awful, but he was a great leader. Just as somebody that's won so much in your hockey career, just kind of what it takes to really, be the level of Michael Jordan and playing with other players that are at that level and sort of the dedication and the leadership and how sometimes, it's not all trophies and sunshine. It's blood, sweat, and tears. And with it comes, really hard work.
For sure. I mean, I would say that if you're going to be a leader, sometimes you have to be not afraid to be unpopular. I think that probably Michael, a lot of his teammates, I know that I probably was hard on my teammates at times too. I hope they wouldn't say I was a jerk, but they'd probably say I was super intense and hard driving. At the end of the day, they'd probably also say that I wanted to win really bad. And I think that that's what it takes. Sometimes it's not all like sunshine and roses at all. And I think at the end of the day, if you have respect, you have trust, and you have a common goal, and you want to win more than, the courage to win is greater than the fear to lose, then you can overcome a lot of that together. So that's, when you think of Michael Jordan, that's the epitome of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, enjoy the rest of The Last Dance. It's been a fantastic series so far. And if you happen to go get more schnitzel with your son, enjoy that.
Yeah.
Now, listen, Ben, thank you so much for the time today and for everything that you're doing for the people really, battling COVID, for everybody else that's at home right now, sort of enjoying their time off. We all appreciate it. So thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me.